Now ready to start the voting. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Ken, you want to give the approval notice? Thank you. We do have proof of quorum. Everyone's here except Linda. She's been excused. She's going for some test today that she couldn't change. And so I'd like to also remind the residents that if she brings her in, make sure those tests come out as good as she wants. Before we get into the meeting, we'll have a presentation by Bob Ferris on the audit committee.
Next slide. My name is Bob Ferris. I'm the chairman of the audit committee. I have to notice here we're a 6% committee. Next slide. Just to give everybody some calibration where we are. We're looking at some projects, and the way we did this was we developed a risk assessment plan. And in that plan, it's a generic plan. We took a survey of what other HOAs are doing, what other profit and not-for-profit organizations are doing, and we try to incorporate into our plan the best of those things. So we try to get up to date with what other organizations are doing. So what we want to do is assess the internal operations of the organization. And we're talking about canvassing the entire waterfront with a couple of exceptions. We don't duplicate what the long-range committee is doing with the SWOT analysis. We don't look at board decisions. We don't look at personnel issues. So when we try to determine where the risks are, we look at two things. We look at something that could have an adverse effect on meeting an objective, whatever that objective is, whether it's the vision statement, or if you want to develop a project and come on schedule or on cost. So we look at what the impact is, if it's negligible, moderate, or critical, and we also look at the likelihood of an event occurring, and we broke those down into unlikely, likely, and something that is certain or imminent. And we use that as a tool within the committee to identify where the high target are, where the high target projects are, where we're really focused on attention. And we approved it ourselves internally on the September 11th meeting. And we're going to implement it now, and the focus is on high impact likelihood users. And as I said before, that's just a tool for the future. So the risk results. And what we like to do is focus in on items that are non-compliant, whether it's non-compliant with federal laws, state laws, or internal policy. We want to look at key management processes, whether they exist or whether they're adequate or not. We're looking at project management. Do we have enough controls, projects that we're going to take? Do we have aspects, time enough that we're going to take? Or mitigate a lot of the risk to the association? And we look at the performance of contractors and the contractual requirements. And at the bottom of our list, to be compliant compliant with the charter, we have some things in there that we're supposed to do. For example, we have to validate that there's 1,406 homes in here. We have to validate the key roads on the end of the road, and some other things. So we have some of the more traditional things that a lot of communities did, and those are included in our charter. And we have the more modern philosophy of what other homeowners associations and nonprofits do now. We're doing thing where we are going financial risk, we're looking at outcomes and the potential of an outcome that can be achieved. We're trying to reel in the big fish. So we're going after the big fish, and also that's the little fish. So where do we stand right now? I think some of you probably know it before. Steve Grilla did a preliminary analysis on outside events. And he came up with some preliminary findings. And I think he's in the process right now of readjusting those findings. I think some discussions with Marcia. And he needs to go back and revisit some of the assumptions he made. And we're going to develop some recommendations. And once the committee approves it, we'll submit to the board. We're also looking at internal audits. Like I suggested before, there's some things in our charter that we want to do. So we're looking at accounts, we're looking at payroll. Those are on the review right now by one of our committee members. He's meeting with Marcia, who produce a final report that will come up to the committee once we approve it and submit it to the board. And one of the other things we've identified, but it's overtaken by events now, it's government care, so taken care of. We identified the Housing for Old Persons Act. We felt that the association was possibly at risk because they didn't have a documented policy on procedures in place. If that's been recently adjusted for and approved by the board, with one of the ways in place. So it's just an overview of where we are right now and we're doing that. And I think we gave everybody a copy of that plan, so you have it for information. And I'll be happy to answer questions.
Larry Lampe, Senior Client. I got a question, two questions for Bob. One is, Bob, I want to make sure in my own mind, there's some statutes of things that need to be audited that are audited by the professional auditing firm that comes in here. Now, and I believe they cover all the things that need to be audited by law. Is that true?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, they just look at the financial aspects of the association.
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially looking for generally accepted accounting.
Okay, so we're looking at,
If they stumble upon any non-compliance with Florida statutes, they'll take action or whatever, but that's not the intent.
All right, and then just one other quick question. Appreciate what you're doing. Is that there, all I need to know is that they're auditing accounts and payroll, and they certify that those accounts and payroll meet all the standards of the state. Is that the same? Are you auditing the same thing? That's all I need to ask.
so I should do. Good. So I suggest that we look at, do the spot checks with Marcia, not that this would happen, but we would look at things to ensure that she wasn't hiring those employees and putting them on the payroll. Other things that are sort of tricky. So we do things like that. So the auditors don't do things like that, the outside auditors. So we're looking at internal policies, procedures, and whether all the bases are being covered and there's no, I don't want to say fraud, but manipulation. So we just audit what the outside auditors are doing to the inside policy, procedures, and applications of the procedures.
Bob, you said you gave a copy of this to everybody?
May I give it?
I don't have one.
I apologize, I'll get you a copy. I got a copy with me, I some copies before the meeting's over. Like I said, it's an internal tool for us. The way it was crafted up at that time, we're going to give it to you, let you review it and comment on it. But when we started discussing it, we said we'll just use it as this as we go.
Thank you for being so brief.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, moving to president's remarks. I had mentioned this earlier, but two things that will be coming up next month. Number one is a budget workshop. Dave and management has prepared a budget. It's gone through the finance committee and will now be presented at this workshop next month. The other thing that I did mention earlier is that also scheduled for next month will be the engineer's presentation to residents on his road plan. So those are two things that will be advised of the APO as well in advance. I'd like to turn over to Dave a little bit, just give us an update on the petition.
The kitchen renovation is now in the final stages of completion. The carpet is in both the Performing Arts Center and the club restaurant area. The wood floor in between with two rooms is now being installed as we speak. We have electricians, we have kitchen installers, we have plumbers hooking up the gas lines as I speak. All of that is being accomplished. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., the health department is scheduled for their final inspection or their inspection. Also, the electrical inspector will be here tomorrow. And right now, as I sit here, it looks very good for us from the 30th. So there's going to be a lot of work, clean up. The new tables are here, the tables were donated by the bingo committee, they're arrived. The other thing that will be later with new chairs, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to sit in the new chair in the lobby. Very comfortable, much more comfortable than what we're seated in as we sit here. Very nice chairs. They may be a week or so behind. The manufacturer had some problems with the material, but they're coming. Our project meeting is scheduled for Friday. Our kitchen designer consultant will be here to do what is known as a punch out of the equipment. We are holding back retainage of 10% before we release final payments. And just so you know, we always receive releases of liens from all of our contractors so that the payment and the release of liens match the percentage of completion. So we're moving forward. Those who have had the opportunity to walk through, opportunity to meet with you and take you through, whenever I've had the opportunity, when they walk in, the word that comes out of their mouth 9 out of 10 times is wow. The pack is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. The kitchen is fantastic. There will be a shakedown, just like anything else. When you build something new, you're going to have to learn how to use it. We have new things in there. We have new equipment, state of the art. And speaking of the reserve, just so you'll know, we have a 10-year useful life, I think we put in Larry, for all of that new equipment. So that's already been set up on the reserve. We are very excited about it. We're doing some training. You might have seen the last email from Food and Beverage from Paul Mark about tips training that has nothing to do with money. It's training for intoxicated person training. Not that we need that here at Heritage Fines, but we're going to do it anyhow. So we're moving forward with it, and we're very excited about that. Just a quick announcement, those of you who have asked, I tried to get a word in edgewise, but I couldn't pass Jeans, to let you know that we are going to keep the bar open Sundays at 8 during football season, so you can come and enjoy football right through the Super Bowl. That's been a request, and there will be further announcements about more entertainment. So, and we'll also, at the September 30th ribbon cutting ceremony, we'll bring our new menus with you while we've been closed. Food and Beverage has been out and about. They have visited every club, every restaurant within the general area. They've met with Cisco, which is one of our food purveyors. And they've also met with other purveyors. We now have 5 purveyors. We just signed restructured cost of goods, cost of food, and so now you'll have a kitchen and a performing arts center that will take Heritage Pines well into the future and something that you can be proud to bring your friends to.
Thanks, Dave. Ken, do the treasury report?
Okay, August 2013 financial results. Net operating income for August is $14,400 less than the budget. Net operating income year-to-date is $96,905 in excess of the budget, but $195,614 less than 2012. Total revenue for August is $620 less than the budget. Net revenue year-to-date is $92,851 in excess of the budget, but $92,030 less than 2012. Total expenses for August are $3,781 more than the budget. Net expenses year-to-date are $4,054 less than the budget, but $102,674 more than 2012. Cash balance year-to-date is $2,336,110. Operating fund has $1,158,213. Reserve has $1,177,397. Food and beverage department has decreased revenue $85,379 less than 2012, with 4 months closure, by the way. Health department has a decrease in revenue of $15,000 less than 2012. Net operating income loss for August of $14,400 is directly related to a capital expenditure of $14,960 for the kitchen versus a budget of $0. That's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Next is approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the August 28th meeting? Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Unfinished business, none. New business, is there a motion to approve the replacement of the electric cargo cart for the tennis general area from the reserve fund in the sum of $7,900? Okay, is there a second? Second. Discussion? Dave, you wanna?
No, Chris, I mentioned that we need cardboard for the tennis courts. It has a different it has a different transmission, so it won't leak all over the courts.
Right, it has the electric, it needs to be electric. You can vary your speed better than the gas. We don't want to leak any oil, for instance, the engine blew or something.
It's useful life.
And the one we have is old.
Any questions from the board?
I shared this the day prior to the meeting, that the West Coast Turf bid, if you looked at the three bids, two were for canopies and attached windshields. And the West Coast Turf bid did not include those. So I didn't think we were comparing apples to apples, and I asked Dave to confirm that. And if you clearly look at the West Coast, it does not include that. I just wanted to make, it is the low bid, but it didn't have the accessories that the others do have. Obviously, my point is that if this is approved, that there's assurances that I had asked for possibly Wesco Turf to fax in prior to the meeting today, a new bid. I didn't have time. But the idea is that I'm putting it on notice that this bid is not accurate because it didn't have the two attachments attached to the components. And you're telling me, and Dave's telling me that it will. So
Let me go on record and say definitely will have.
Okay. That's all I'm asking for, so that everyone out there realizes if they look at this,
That price, no different price.
the price will be reflect the two accessories that were left off.
Right.
And I think maybe going forward, that that was an omission,
It's just an oversight.
as an oversight, and it does make it confusing for me in my little desk at home. When I do my homework, I didn't understand why it was omitted in our or was it omitted? Are we voting on two different things? And so we were all voting on the same equipment. So that's my only comment.
Any other comments from board members? Ken?
That's a pretty good catch, Randy, I missed it. I just want to make a comment to show how good they're doing here, that the other two bids, even though they're a little bit more, they did not include sales tax and delivery charges. So even if we had to pay additional money for this canopy and windshield, this quote should have come in even much better than the other two, since they don't keep those prices at about $500 each.
Any other board comments, questions? Any resident comments? No? All in favor of approving the electric cargo court for a cart for $7,900, say aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next, is there a motion to approve the final version of the board policy manual? I'll second that. Board discussion? Any resident comments? This will be easy. All in favor of approving the final version of the board policy manual, say aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next is a motion. Finally,
A year and a half worth of work.
next is a motion, where am I? A motion to approve denim to the not acceptable men's dress code for the dining area after 4 p.m. Well, we need a first motion. We need a first motion. You want your motion?
My motion.
Okay.
I'll make it.
I'll second it for discussion purposes. Board discussion?
Just a statement that until we do decide that we need to change the dress code, the reason I brought this up was for clarification, because there seems to be some confusion on what are jeans and what aren't jeans, and what's denim and what's not denim. And just to add the one word denim to the dress code that currently is in place and been voted on, is why I submitted this, because of what went on last month at the forum. So there's some clarification so people know what the rules are. And if we decide that we want to change the dress code or whatever, then that's it happens at a different board meeting. Somebody needs to bring in a request for approval on changing the dress code, if that's what we're going to do. Anybody else?
Yeah, any other?
I think we should get some kind of consensus on whether or not we do have an intent to look at the dress code.
We had quite a discussion in the forum there earlier, and one of the things about the 4 o'clock, I'd like to remind people that if you have jeans on, you can't play golf. So you don't have to change to go into the restaurant or the bar if you end up playing golf.
Any other board comments?
Add to what Val is saying, we are now in discussion. So I think what that means that we can discuss anything as it relates to the dress code. I've been verbal. You've been verbal. I think this is an opportunity that the board be proactive and looking forward to some sort of remedy to the dress code. And I support some sort of effort to the point where I could possibly make a motion today, I believe. Am I correct on that?
I think we're under the topic of dress code and making changes to it, so I think that's okay.
Okay, I don't want this, I would like to have the current motion voted upon, and then I'd like to come back to it and possibly make another motion. Is it am I out of order to do that?
I can do, if you'd like, I guess, is to amend the motion, if you want to do that. But, then we can vote on that.
Okay.
Griff, what's that? Yeah, the motion on the table right now is to approve denim to the non-acceptable men's dress code for the dining area after 4 o'clock. So to me, that opens up the dress code issue as an agenda item.
All I can do then is amend the motion.
Okay, so let me just add my comment.
Please do.
But I guess my feeling is, I'm a little reluctant to propose a change without it going through the appropriate committee, that being the rules and regs. Any change, what's that? Well, but we can put one together, yeah. I understand. But I'd rather wait until that time comes and have the rules and regs, do whatever they think they do, whatever they think they need to do, put out another survey, whatever it is, rather than propose one change here at today's meeting. That's my take.
The reason I'm doing the change is for the clarification, and if we want to change the rules and regulations, that's wonderful, but what you have here is, the heart of the matter is that what we're looking for is appropriate dress. Now, in my mind, jeans are when you're out working in the yard, and you're out riding a horse and whatever, or when if you have the coveralls on. But without the word denim in there, coveralls are accepted because they are not jeans, they are denim. So I'm just trying to clarify it until we make a decision. And as Val said, it's going to take 3 or 4 months. Just clarify it so that the employees aren't put in a position of having to be the dress cops. If we do that and you can even add to the motion that the board will appoint an ad hoc committee to review the dress code, the current dress code. But 60 meetings, and we have maybe, 2 or 3% people here that are concerned about it. I mean, that in my mind is a mini minority, and we just need to, but if you add this one word to it, it clarifies, it clears it up until we can make some changes as that the community wants.
Any other board comments, questions?
As this is your amendment, would you, I'd like to consider adding to that we as a board authorize just what you had indicated, Kevin, is that we move forward at taking another look at this with the rules and regulations. Because of the changes in the bar, because of the changes in the atmosphere, the separation of the bar from the dining room, the younger community that's coming in here, and all 50 other reasons that we've heard from the last 2 board meetings. I think it's palatable, it's appropriate and necessary that we move forward. And this would be an opportunity, today's board meeting, rather than bringing it up into another board meeting, that we add to, if Jim will add this to the amendment, that we move forward and ask the rules and regulations to reestablish and take another stab at this dress code.
Jim, are you okay with amending it to include?
Yeah, I would add that the board move forward. And I don't know whether it comes out of lifestyle or where the rules. That the board appoint a new rules and regulation committee to review the dress code. know what I'm trying to say, I just,
Let me try and summarize. So I guess Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're doing is making an amended motion that will approve the denim to be not acceptable men's dress code in the dining area after 4 o'clock, and at the same time approve the reformation of the Rules and Regs Committee under the auspices of the board policy as amended to look into the dress code.
The board policy committee is going to be looking at the rules and regulations to put in the changes that the attorney gave us. And they can very well start the process of looking at the rules and regulations completely, and maybe if a survey is needed, we'll start coming up with recruiting extra people. I don't know that we need to even amend the motion to do that. I think the committee can do it. Now that we've got the board policy manual finished,
I think the amendment of the motion all goes along with Randy that, you know, as long as we're doing something, let's move forward. But I'm just looking for clarification so that the employees are able to say yes and no, you know, and it becomes subjective. It's not, so I would amend the motion to exactly what we put together, very easily.
I would agree that caveat should be attached to your amendment, so that it is in writing, and that the audience and the residents know that we are taking a proactive stance on this, and that we are listening to this. And it's in paper, it's in writing, so it'll be in our minutes.
Okay, so I'll second that amended motion. Any, Rick? Any other board comments before we go to the resident? Any resident comments?
I don't believe that you have a problem with the associates deciding what are jeans and what aren't jeans. You don't have a problem with that. These are jeans. Jeans are pants. These are jeans. You don't have a problem with that. The problem you have is that somebody decided to tell food and beverage that included, in order to make their decisions, you've got to use the word denim. Denim is already being used as a means of deciding whether something are jeans or not. They've been instructed to do that. You're trying to make it easier for them since it's not written in the rules. But here's the problem that I have. These are jeans. They're made of denim. They have the little copper metal rivets and everything in it. Okay? These are jean shorts. They have the rivets in it. These pants right here are exactly this. Our cargo pants are exactly the same as the pants that I have on. They're the same manufacturer. They're bought at the same time. They do not have rivets. They have buttons just like regular buttons. They're exactly like I put on that. They're exactly like these. And you're going into a slippery slope by actually saying that these are not accepted. They just happen to be made of denim. But they are not what you consider to be jeans. They are not work clothes. They're exactly like these, except they're made of denim. And it's a slippery slope if you try to put that on there. Plus, you're also asking for problems from a lawyer someplace that if you include denim as not being acceptable for the men, you've got a problem where on the other side, you've got denim is acceptable for the women with skirts.
Guys wear skirts too.
Oh, come on.
Well,
I appreciate the fact that you are trying to get this straightened up. I appreciate that fact totally, but don't go that far with guys who wear skirts. Come on. Listen to your wife.
He's made a statement that I would have made. I believe when I sent my email to each of the board members, I mentioned that women are allowed to wear denim dresses, jackets, and something else, maybe skirts. And how can you allow women to wear denim, but you're going to say that men can't wear denim? I think that's a controversy with this.
of those pants that I've been wearing all along, because denim comes in many colors. So are you just saying blue denim? Or all colors?
My comment is, the community has come and spoken at two different forums on the same issue. Your decision on how you handle this will send a very, very clear message to the listener, to the resident input. That unfortunately, there was a lot of time put in by a group of a committee, and they came forward with a recommendation. Maybe it wasn't in the best interest of the community. They will not be the only committee that worked hard, brought recommendations forward that were used, utilized, or respected. They won't be.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that's why I'm a little concerned about making changes without it going through a committee first. We're sitting here within the last 10, 15 minutes trying to make a decision. I'm sure Fletch and his committee, he said he has 60 meetings. My sense is, I don't think it's, other than sending it back to the committee to look at it, I guess I'm not comfortable in approving a change without it going back to the committee first. But I am okay with putting it back to the committee and let them look at the whole thing, not just them, but the whole dress code.
Listen to the residents.
Any other resident comments?
I just wanted to say, I think what you're forgetting is a survey that was done. We are a small group sitting here. I think you need to look at the survey that was done. Everybody was given ample opportunity to say what they wanted, and the majority ruled. And that's always been the way it is. So I don't think necessarily that this little group in here is speaking for the majority of the community. This is a small group, and I appreciate everyone's thoughts, but I think if you want to think of the majority, look at the survey.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. That's why, in my opinion, I think it's got to go back to the committee. Let the committee, and I know, Fletch, you spent many hours on this thing. But to me, that's where it belongs. It doesn't belong with us making a decision in 15 minutes without really knowing, you know, what some of the residents are bringing up, what the consequences might be. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back and say that it's for clarification, because if you don't have clarification on what is acceptable where, then staff cannot enforce. I don't know, in the board meeting, can Dave speak to that? Can the general manager?
You're right. You need clarification so that you cannot, you have to have rules and regulations contrary to what we heard earlier. You just can't. Have a manager walk up to, you cannot have a manager walk up to somebody with their own discretion. That does not work. It will never work, not here, not anywhere else. So yes, we need clarification. We definitely do that. So it helps our food and beverage manager. And just so you'll know, Jim, if somebody's not wearing a collared shirt, we have them, and we'll give them to somebody to prevent embarrassment. We'll do everything that we can, when I say give it to them, we'll lend it to them and get it back. So we're going to try and do everything we can to be user-friendly. Clarification helps.
Okay, and with the addenda or add-on to the amendment, I think it says that, okay, we're going to look at this, we have heard what the community has said, but just until we get an ad hoc committee, rules and regulations set up, that we will move forward and just for clarification. And I think on that, if there's not any more discussion, I think we have to call the vote.
And I guess from my point of view, we've operated without the word, I don't see any problem with operating in the future. But you're right, I think we're finished. So all in favor of approving them? I'm sorry.
It really actually was just reinforcing what the board, I think, may do, is send it back to be looked at again. Because yes, we are a small group at this meeting, but we are at the meeting. We have come to meet for a reason, to let the board know, let the people know how we actually feel about some of the things happening. And I do respect everyone up here for the job you do, because it's a tough job. You take a lot of heat. You also set and represent a lot of folks. But I think in the best interest of this community, you would send it back to the committee to reassess and relook at, and then if it comes back, so be it. You have done exactly what people have asked you to do, and I think then the issue can be resolved, one way or the other. You're putting the food and beverage folks in a bad position, you're putting the bar in a bad position, because they're trying to police something that nobody really knows what the rules are. So that's all I'm asking. Thank you, Bob.
I was in 58 of the 60 meetings. Yeah, that's two. I think it has to be revisited. I want to argue the point whether you have to put all the caveats in there or not. But I think it needs to go to a different committee, with all due respect to Fletch and those people. Because I've sat in those meetings. I've seen people quit that committee because they were outnumbered. And I don't think there was a balance, in my opinion, I don't think you would get a balanced representation from the committee. I think it was skewed one way. So I recommend that you go back and reform or form a different committee with different people and try to do something that I feel that when I was on that committee, when I appointed members to it, I try to get a balance and try to get people who are casual and people who are formal and try to get them to compromise. And I feel it was, I think it was skewed on that. So I think in the best interest of the community, we try to get a balanced perspective.
There is a committee that's available that worked a year and a half by putting the board policy meeting together. They're already in existence. That wouldn't delay this. Maybe send a positive note to the community that you're going to address this now rather than 3 or 4 months from now. But if you're just going to reseat the same committee, takes me back to that saying, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get the same results.